Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Shoe and Show. This is a special edition. This is the FDRA World Cup edition, and I want to have a conversation with my dear friends Andy Polk and Jolie Gracia, who both have gone to World Cup matches. But Andy, as we start our conversation around the World Cup, I remember 2018 when the announcement came that North America would be hosting the 2026 World Cup. You turned to me and said, because I think we're still in the office, you're like, I'm going to be taking a lot of time off in summer of 2026. And that was a long time ago. But as time flies, here we are, my friend. And just to set the tone, how are you feeling about the 2026 World Cup as you think back towards your expectations when that announcement came so many years ago?
I think this World Cup is what America needed at this point in time. I feel like there's been a lot of noise. To me, there's two World Cup conversations. There's a larger conversation that's been happening around like the high prices that FIFA's initiated, which no one likes, no soccer fan likes, no general person likes to pay these high prices. So I think there's always conversation about FIFA being very corrupt, which we know that it is. But then there's a difference between when the play starts and you get to see the talent and the intensity and the love of the countries that are there, the fans that are there. And I think the World Cup split into two different camps for me right now. One is like before the tournament started, there was all this noise about the cost, about people not getting transit, about $100, fare on a bus to get out to a stadium, and all this stuff leading up to about how terrible it was. And then as soon as the matches started, for me, everything just shifted back to my passion and love for soccer. And then my passion and love for humanity of people showing up from all over the world and trying out Waffle House and going to Walmart and going to Buc-ee's and seeing all these things blow up and reminding America that, I think there was a saying, it was like, if you want to hate America, watch the news. Or even for other people around the world, it's like, if you want to see America in a bad light, watch the news. If you really want to understand America and interact with Americans, show up and just see how, nice people are in America, how welcoming, checking in on people, seeing how they're doing, always a conversation, always a smile. So I think the message has, been at this point in time where there's a narrative of what America looks like to the world. And when they're showing up, they're getting something completely different and unexpected and just love. And in many ways, only football, only soccer can deliver that to me. And that's always guided my interactions overseas. It's the common denominator when you talk to people of different cultures is always soccer. It's always sport. It's always something like that. You leave politics and religion to itself and you just focus on football, and like there's always some commonality when you go around that. So that's what I'm thinking about is like in this moment where I thought we would lead up to the 250th anniversary of our country and be really patriotic and really excited. And I think in some ways there's one guy who's trying to make it about himself, and that kind of has dampened my enthusiasm.
Right.
This has reemerged it where I'm like really excited and happy and seeing people engage with the America that we all know and love, not the political America, but the actual America. And I think it's a beautiful, lovely thing from the matches that I've been to and the conversations I'm having with friends around the world.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to pick your brain on those matches in just a second. And just for our viewers' sake, Andy's our resident football soccer expert. He has gone to dozens and dozens of matches in Europe and the U.S. and overseas. He's a Tottenham fan through and through good times and bad. We won't pick at that scab right now. And then we have Jolie, who, correct me if I'm wrong, Jolie, or maybe a casual fan. And because of your Haitian American background and that of your family and your grandfather, just a beautiful story. You also had the opportunity to go to a match. We won't get into the details just yet, but I want to just give you an opening opportunity to talk about what your expectations have been for the World Cup, maybe from a more casual fan perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I come from a soccer family. I didn't play soccer much. I maybe played like 1 or 2 seasons of rec soccer, but my brothers, they played college soccer. Dad played soccer. Everyone loves it. I spent my childhood going to soccer tournaments on the weekend. So it's very deep in the family. I honestly didn't know what to expect. My dad came to me and he was like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to see Haiti play. It's their first appearance since 1970. So there is a scenario where we don't see them play again. So when I heard that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think I need to be there. And I have no regrets. Like it was a good time. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Andy, you have gone to a couple matches. You went to the England-Croatia game down in the gargantuan AT&T Stadium, which is the stadium that will host the most World Cup matches during the tournament. And then you went up to Philly, as did Jolie, different matches. But when you got down to Dallas, kind of there in Arlington, Texas, closer to Fort Worth than Dallas, what was the vibe there, and kind of how did you soak it all in?
It was interesting. Like, I mean, the airports are all decked out. So that's number one. As soon as you walk through, there's all this World Cup stuff everywhere. And there is a vibe where you're running into people and it's just exciting. A lot of people are on holiday. So a lot of beers are being drunk. But everybody's in good spirits. Everybody is like upbeat. They're happy to be in the cities. I stayed downtown Dallas. I think the one curious thing about this World Cup, because it's in the U.S. and the U.S. is so large, I went to the Euros a couple of years ago in Germany, and I was able to flew to Frankfurt, trained up to Cologne same day within an hour. So I was in Cologne for a match, and then I went down to Frankfurt for another match. So it's easy to get around and easy for people to move. I think this World Cup's so large between three countries, North America, it's hard for people to move. So there's a little bit of disjointedness to what you might see from a smaller World Cup footprint, but there was a lot of fan zones. The bars are all decked out. So downtown Dallas, like all the bars had flags and were soccer themed, and you did engage with different people. There's also an overlap. So like, when we flew in, I expected a lot of Croatians and a lot of English, which there were, but there were equally a lot of fans from Netherlands from the previous match who were still there. So you have this overlap between these, between the fixtures that are happening. And so what you expect is actually better because there's multiple cultures interacting. And then you just have a local culture. So in Dallas, the large Hispanic community, all big soccer fans, lots of people wearing Mexico shirts, also lots of people wearing US shirts in addition. And so we went out one night to a pub to watch the matches the night before match day for us. And Argentina was playing, and I don't imagine I've ever seen more Argentine jerseys in my life. People just flooding in. So you have like so it's like not just this international wave in. It's like people don't realize, like, people love soccer in America. They watch a lot of soccer. I don't think it's really picked up in terms of like the metrics for TV and all that kind of stuff, like it probably should. But the amount of Messi fans wearing shirts, and they were all local. I talked to them. They're all from like Dallas, right? They just came out to watch that match. So I think that's the other thing too, is like just people I think part of it is like passionate fans are trying to watch every match they can. But because it's in the US, even casual people are like, what is this? Like, why is all this happening? I see all this Instagram posts from this German guy about Buc-ee's. Like, that's really funny. But what is this World Cup really? Right. And so they're tuning in a little bit more and learning a little bit more. And guess what? The U.S. team is actually really good. And the tactics are really good. And the players are playing really well. And they're loose. And it's fun. And it's representative of the U.S. Kind of a joy, but also intensity and grinding things out. And so the better the U.S. does, I think more people will get involved. It really is a 1994 moment all over again, where soccer is being introduced to people who may not have ever had the attention for it or knowledge of it, are now like really feeling a lot of the vibe in the US around it.
I agree. And I think the difference with 94 is that our stadium infrastructure that they're leveraging is phenomenal. SoFi Stadium for the first US match against Paraguay was just beautiful, visually beautiful. And I've seen a number of YouTubers, foreign YouTubers, Brits in particular, who they watched the national anthem and the Americans singing it at that Paraguay match, or the match up with Australia in Seattle, and they're just blown away by the patriotism and the beauty of our national anthem, and just the visuals are stunning. Because back in '94, I think we played in the Stanford Stadium, some college stadiums. It was a different infrastructure. And AT&T in Dallas while not centrally located within Dallas proper, is one of the most, once you walk in that door, it's one of the
It's
most beautiful, amazing stadiums. You can see
unbelievable.
anything.
Whoever created that and like whoever the architect was is a genius. I mean, to walk into from the Texas heat, which is oppressive, walking in, it's like 70, 72 degrees. People are like shocked. You look around, it's like a cathedral. Like all the seats were good. The pitch was immaculate. And then there was a couple of times where I actually had to like look down at the pitch because I don't know what you call it. It's not a jumbotron. This gigantic TV. I was like watching it and I was like, oh yeah, there's actually the match in front of us, right? So that whole thing was just like unbelievable. And then just the atmosphere and like the enclosure, like obviously was nice for climate, but like it also was just acoustically unbelievable for all the chants and cheers. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And I could tell you a lot of Brits were just like, this is like unbelievable. Like they've never been to a stadium like that in their lives.
Yeah. And there's a moment, I'm going to save it for a second. There's a moment in that match I want to get back to, Andy. But before we do that, Jolie, let's talk about your match day experience. Multi-generational opportunity for you. Your grandfather, I've seen the pictures. Your family's beautiful, all decked out in Haitian gear. It was a David versus Goliath match, Bill versus Haiti. Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. How did you guys get there? And then talk to me about your match day experience.
For sure. We drove. We have a lot of family in Philly, actually. So I don't think we're ever going to hop on a plane to drive in that direction. We can get there without a map. But we actually stayed in Atlantic City and we drove in for the match. We parked near. We took a train. And we got out just as easy as we got in. So getting there again, I didn't really know what to expect, but similar to what you said, Andy, there was just a lot of culture, a lot of love. Like, I think obviously we knew we were playing Brazil and Brazil is Brazil, but I think everyone there kind of just understood that it was just an honor to be able to watch them play. And Brazil was a really good sport. Like they knew they were going to crush us, but regardless, they were like, you guys came out, you guys had heart. It was just one big party. I saw a TikTok that compared the World Cup. They said the World Cup is like when you're linking up with the cousins you never get to see because your parents don't like each other. So like, it was really good. Just, yeah, I had a really good time. I didn't care that we lost. It was kind of just more so experiencing it, being there with my family and just a lot of culture. Like Brazil versus Haiti on Juneteenth, it was crazy. It was crazy.
You can't, what an iconic date for our nation's history, as well as for your personal family history with seeing that game. And Fox does a great job in the broadcast of capturing family groups in their matching kits and their matching jerseys, singing, face painted up, whatever. And there, to Andy's point, that joy word is really prevalent when you watch the games, and it really comes through for those of us who haven't had the opportunity to actually go see a match. Now, Andy, one of the things we saw at the game at Lumen Field, I know it's like Seattle Field, everything's generic now from a stadium sponsorship perspective, but at the end of the match between the Americans, between the U.S. and Australia, there was this mass singing of Country Road, West Virginia Country Roads. That's an amazing, I encourage people to go look it up. But at your match with Jude Bellingham, one of the star players for the England side, everyone's saying, "Hey Jude." I've seen that clip. Were you part of that chorus ringing out at AT&T Stadium?
Yeah. So after the match, what they typically try to do, and I think the national teams have some say over what's played at the end if they win. So I think that's attributed to the national team trying to find some kind of anthem, like an anthem that the country has, not the national anthem, but some kind of theme or idea or whatever. So at the end of the English match, no one left. Even the Croatians were like hanging out. No one wanted them. Like, that's the thing, is like soccer's 90 minutes. So like if you watch an NFL, it could be 4 hours. Who knows? So like you get all this like extra. So like at the end of it, you're still like vibing. You're like, that was amazing. And you still want to hang out with people. And so I would say 30 minutes after the match, everybody was like 90% of the stadium was still there. So they're playing music because it's part of the whole thing. And the first one was Sweet Caroline. Don't know why, but everybody was vibing to that and they loved it. Absolutely. I was doing everybody.
Needle
right?
Diamond. Yep. Got a
like the Wonderwall for Harry Kane. And even Harry Kane said that was one of his favorite moments in the national team he's ever had, was hearing the fans sing Wonderwall to him. So obviously I was belting that out. And then toward like the last one was like Hey Jude, and like that, and they on the big screen, their faces, they were getting emotional about all that, but everybody was singing it. So I think it's like they're finding these like themes that everybody knows and everybody can vibe to and sing, and like it's part of their like national ethos in some way. But I've seen that at other stadiums too. The lead into, I saw France Iraq a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
and
now you just said, sorry to interrupt, but you said football, NFL games could be 4 hours long. That was the longest game in World Cup history, and you were there to experience it.
Yeah, I was, and that it was a little disjointed because there was a 2-hour rain delay, and I mean it was flash floods, right? They had to get squeegees on the pitch to like try to get the water off, because it's an injury issue if you're running on a waterlogged pitch, your foot can get stuck and you can pull like your ACL or hamstring or something like that. So there's a lot of work that goes into that from the grounds crew to make sure that the pitch is exactly right, and just to make sure that it goes off, and the beautiful game it is. But that was really hard because you had like a 2-hour rain delay, so you're sitting there waiting. But everybody was in good spirits. Like people are just like, we had French fans who were just out in the rain and didn't care, and we're just getting soaked, and they were like soaking it in or whatever. But the lead in, they also play like national like songs that everyone knows. So like they were playing Daft Punk was one of the lead ins for like France, and then Iraq had like a specific Arabic song that they were playing. So like, it like feeds into this kind of, I don't know, in some ways it's a football festival. And so there's music, food, culture. It's like all this stuff intertwined where people are like displaying the love of their culture and trying to like spread it around a little bit more in different ways. And music's definitely a part of that. But yeah, so it was amazing. Like being able to participate and sing songs and things like that, and the chants and everything. It's like, it's great. A lot of fun. I think the other thing too to remember is there's like, and I don't know if this is an actual real stat, but someone was saying this, there's never been an act of violence at a World Cup match in like the last 4 or 5 World Cups at least, right? Like maybe somewhere down the street but from people who attend these World Cup matches, it's all excitement, like it's all love, like joy, like, taking care. Like we're all like football fans, right? And so it's all like super safe, super fun, a lot of vibes. And I'm just sad that I don't get more matches. I just can't afford it.
Right.
I can't afford to take the time off like I thought, because we're way busier than I thought we'd be at this age, dealing with a lot of different things I didn't think we'd ever deal with in our lifetime.
Amen to that.
Footwear. But also, like, it's expensive. It's still costly. It still grinds me a bit that it costs that much. But I'm grateful I got to go and experience 2 different matches in 2 different cities. Yeah, and I think it's great.
Well, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about footwear on the Shoe and Show podcast. So, Jolie, I'm going to come to you first. We're going to do off the pitch shoes that you saw at the match. Like, what were people rocking? Was there something specific that Haitians had over Brazilians? And then Andy, we'll do some on the pitch conversation around what you saw players wearing. There's a trend out there I don't really like, but I'll get to that in a second. Jolie, walk me through I saw what you guys wearing, Nike, Jordan, etc. But what kind of shoes? Were there a lot of Sambas? Was a lot of like soccer inspired footwear that people were wearing who were attending the match that you went to?
For sure. I definitely still saw like a lot of Adidas Sambas for sure. Nike Vomeros, I think I said them correctly. Vomeros have been popping up. I saw a lot of people in Vomeros. So I thought those were pretty cool. I saw some people in sandals. I don't know if I'd be wearing sandals to a World Cup match there were 68,000 people at my match. So I don't know if I'd pick sandals, but definitely just a lot of sneakers, like comfortable things you can walk in, jump around in, so.
Yeah. While looking good, of course, and of meeting the moment. Now, Andy, one of the things that players are wearing are these pink boots, which I know the strategy for the shoe companies, which many of our members are, to pick those colors that stand out on the pitch against that green backdrop so people can see it. And even if you look at Google searches right now for soccer cleats, soccer boots, etc., they're spiking for obvious reasons. But what else did you see? Have you been tracking this pink trend relative? It clashes with like the American red, white, and blue. It clashes with some of the other kits that are out there. It may not clash with maybe the Korean one or the Japanese ones, but it clashes with a lot of the different kits, which bugs me a tad, but walk me through what you saw on the pitch.
I think it's funny because there's so many colors now that black stands out to me when someone's wearing like a traditional pair of black shoes. I'm like,
Right.
are they wearing the traditional Copas? Like that guy's still wearing it? And there's a few players who grew up in Copas and still wear the black tradition. And if you're a fan of soccer, played it, you know exactly what I'm saying. But like those are from like 1970, right? And those have just never really changed in form or function. They're just classic great cleats that people wear. But now, yeah, it's like I've seen some blues, saw some oranges, I've seen yellows, I've seen pinks. So I think some of it is, to your point, like trying to highlight or sell those shoes in some way. Yeah, but the black stands out to me. Like I think some, you know, even the refs, I think are traditionally wearing black, but you know, the silhouettes have changed a lot too, though, because the style has changed based on a lot more understanding of biomechanics. Footwear has a lot of sprinting and cutting, so really quick movements. And if you get the cleats or the spikes wrong on the turf, or you know, a lot of work's been done around like ankle issues and things like that. So you have a lot of different TPU, not just on the bottom, but coming up around the side. So the silhouettes changed a lot too in the last like 4 to 8 years from what I've seen. The other thing too is like they're doing a lot less laces.
Yeah.
So typically laceless are trying to mold the boot to the foot a lot more. And there's just a lot more, there's a lot less, the upper materials changed, a lot more synthetic, a lot like very thin layers at that point, right? They're trying to get it as lightweight as possible, which is good, but also like somebody comes across your foot with a stud and digs in, that's going to be a lot more painful. You have no coverage whatsoever. So when people are watching soccer and someone starts rolling on the floor and you like look at it and you see somebody stomp on their foot, like that's not that bad. It actually is really bad. It's really painful. So I've seen some of that too. The interesting thing is like they are more and more now, clubs are using this like kind of heater system. It's like like an oven. So what they'll do is they'll take the new boots or shoes, stick it in this oven, and it will create moisture and heat and temperature, and it will help to make the shoes more malleable. So they're not as tight or rigid. So the break-in period is like a couple of minutes instead of like a couple of days. And that's really important because there are a lot of blisters. So as you try to form the shoes or the boots to the feet a lot more, you get a lot of blisters in soccer. And so that kind of helps kind of alleviate that a little bit more too. So there's been a lot of shifts and changes. I also say this, like it used to be like Adidas and Puma, and obviously now Nike like has Mbappe, you know, Puma has Christian Pulisic, Skechers has soccer boots now. Harry Kane wears Skechers, which I think is really cool. New Balance, so Saka from England, there's New Balance. So like you have, you know, and who knows in the future, maybe Hoka will get into it, maybe maybe, you know, so running brands and their high-end running shoes are really influencing soccer cleats next generation with like the carbon fibers and the carbon plates and things like that. Those are starting to flow into football as well. It's just a different, like when you're running, it's like, you know, a marathon, you're straight ahead. Soccer's a lot of cutting, so they got to figure out how to mold it a little bit better around that. But definitely big shifts and changes in kind of the cleats that we're watching and seeing, both in terms of the expansion of brands and then just the silhouette styles and definitely the colors. Colors are very interesting.
Yeah, no, they're super interesting. And Jolie, a fashion question for you. You know, we talked about the Sambas, and Andy talked about some of the iconic shoes that have bled over into the lifestyle space for a long time now, right? But what I saw recently, particularly at a Nordstrom on the shoe floor at Nordstrom and Tyson's Corner in Virginia, was this taking some of those more advanced boots that Andy was just describing, maybe the higher performing, the different materials, the more futuristic look, taking off the cleats or the spikes and then selling those now for particularly for women as a lifestyle shoe. So it's not like wearing the Sambas, which it's more of like looking like a highly technical soccer cleat is on your foot as you walk down the street casually. Have you seen these? And is that something that you're into?
I actually have not seen these like recently. I would be into it because it sounds intriguing. I'm all for comfortability. I'm always looking for more sneakers and like things that I can quickly put on and just have on the go. So sounds like I'll be getting on Nordstrom.com in just a moment to see what these look like. These sound cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think it also is a moment where we've had this. I don't know how many seasons we've had at this point, but we've had like very thick midsoles, right? This whole like trend of like doubling up your midsole, right? So like that trend's happened, and then maybe there's an opportunity where it just goes kind of flat back to the Samba style, where it's, obviously there's still comfort involved with the insole, but it just becomes a smaller footprint in terms of the midsole down. And there's an opportunity to sell those types of shoes where you don't maybe have it in the closet. And especially in those colorways that are like kind of vibrant and bright. So yeah, I mean, there's, it's like a new type of shoe that people don't have in their closet, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting. All right, last question for you both. Andy, I'll start with you. Is this the best World Cup ever? And if so, why? And if not, why not? We haven't even gotten to the knockout rounds yet, so it's a little early, but why not be hyperbolic?
I mean, personally, yes, because I got to go to it. So that's like one thing. But I'll say this, the quality on the pitch has surprised me. There's like Cape Verde, I know Haiti lost 3-0 to Brazil, but still played a great match. Like the quality of some of these smaller nations, they're catching up to the larger nations in terms of tactics, tenacity. I mean, talent stands out, right? Like, these like world players and the players who play around the world or whatever, but like the quality of these smaller countries playing really well. You don't see outsized scores, even though the World Cup expanded. You have a lot more teams than in the past. There's not a lot of like blowout games or matches at this point. So I think it's been pretty competitive. I'll be interested to see what happens in the knockout. So we'll see. I think it's going to be tough to beat Qatar, our Qatar from the last World Cup, simply because the final was so dynamic with Messi and Mbappe. Mbappe scores a hat trick and loses the World Cup final. Like that's insane. But that tournament, I think, is still paramount. Another way people look at it is just the number of goals scored, like how offensive, how fun is it? And this has been good. Like we've had some days where we've seen a lot of goals. So it has the potential to be the best ever. We'll see how it pans out. But so far, the quality's been better than I thought it was for an expanded tournament.
Yeah, me too. I agree. So my question for you, Jolie, is 4 years from now, we'll be 100 years into the World Cup, and it'll be in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. Another second try at having 3 countries host it together, which I think is a cool vibe. Will Haiti be in the World Cup 2030?
I think we will. I'm very optimistic. I enjoyed seeing us this time, so I'm going to hope and pray that we can make it again. And if we do, we'll be there again, me and my family.
Good for you. And Andy will be there too, I'm sure, somewhere in Portugal, Spain, or Morocco. So, well, I can't thank you guys enough for coming in and taking us along on the rides that you guys have had over the last couple of weeks as you've gone to these matches. I've been really amused by the kind of social media aspect of seeing, the Scottish Tartan Army in Boston drinking all the Sam Adams beer, or the Japanese person shocked that you get free refills and chips and salsa for free before you order your meal. It's been fun, to Andy's point, to see America rediscovered again and people moving past the headlines. Football is the great equalizer. It's been so much fun, and to have you guys and have my personal friends go and experience it and come and sharing those stories with us has been awesome. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
All right, this has been another exciting edition of Shoe and Show. Who knows, 4 years from now, we'll be back having a conversation about the next World Cup and talking to Jolie and Andy after they've gone to see that one. So make sure you tune in between now and then for all of our great episodes. Go to shoeandshow.com. Until the next one comes out this coming Monday, Shoe and Show is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.